Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. Doing business and life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. While you're listening to this incredible guest, boy, is she incredible, I want you to think about how you're going to serve today and what impact you're going to create today with that service. I want to thank my two sponsors. BrainShare.us, drive business success and sustainability with BrainShare Business Mentors, where your business flourishes and your vision comes to life. Check out the link in the show notes. And then PitchDB.com. Imagine being a guest on over 3 million podcasts or speak at over 18,000 conferences and many, many more things. This will build your thought leader platform with incredible opportunities to show who you really are. Now, I'm excited about this guest. We met a few years ago. We stayed connected. And this is the power we were talking about in the room, is going into a community. It may work out, may not, but the people you meet, as I always talk about, your network's your net worth. And show is proof today, because she's brought my net worth up, the stuff she's taught me. Kayleigh, welcome to the show.
Steve, I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Mindset. It's talked about all the time. What's your definition of it?
Oh, I love that question. I was networking as we do a couple weeks ago, and I introduced myself as a mindset mentor, and someone said, "Oh, like mindfulness," and I was like, "No, So I want to start by differentiating the difference between mindfulness and mindset, because how I teach mindset is really helping someone change the way that they perceive themselves in the world around them, and our mind is set. We have subconscious programming, we have ideas, we have beliefs that we're not even aware of, that we have inherited from many different ways. I'm not going to get into that today. So our mind is always set. And how I look at mindset is helping people change their mindset. So starting to reprogram their subconscious belief system, how they perceive themselves is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is helping them build a better concept and a better perception, a bigger perception of themselves. We often, we're the ones getting in our own way. It's always us, right? It's always the person looking back at you in the mirror. And I help people see someone different when they look at themselves, someone who is more powerful, someone who is more confident, and the courage and drive to go after the things that they really, really, really want. So I use mindfulness tools in my coaching to help, bringing gratitude practices, meditation, visualization, all of those tools. But it really is about changing your perception of yourself and the world around you.
Awareness too sounds like a big tool here too. Talk about awareness.
Yeah. Everything is awareness. I was listening to, I was actually on my way home from a lunch meeting before this. I was listening to an audiobook, a Bob Proctor audiobook. I binge listen to Bob Proctor all the time and have been for almost 5 years now. And he was talking about how we can only give what we have. We can't give what we don't have. We're all out here doing the best we can with what we have. And some days that can look differently. I'm a mom, I have 2 kids. Definitely some days that looks different, right?
Yeah.
But what we're really looking for is just new levels of awareness, because when we start to increase our awareness and become more aware of how we're thinking, how we're perceiving ourselves, our own thought patterns, our own views of success, our own views of failure, our own views around money, all of these things, we essentially start to have more that we can give out to more people. We're talking about from a servant's, being a servant leader here. And that's really what it's all about. It's filling your own cup with knowledge, with awareness, with bigger ideas so that you can pour out and impact more people. And it's all through awareness. We can't give what we don't have. So my mission is just to keep gathering more information that I can help and serve my clients with.
Knowledge is a huge value to mindset. You taught me that when I work with you. By the way, I worked with her in the past and she's absolutely incredible. That's why I was excited to have her on.
Thank you.
But I mean, I know you've heard this. I've heard this. And the person goes, belief system, I don't want to change my belief system. I love my belief system. How do you handle that?
That's a great question. So I would ask them, and I'd be direct, honest, and loving. I'd ask them, well, are you happy with everything that you have in your life right now? Is there an area in your life that you want to improve? Now, I have never, ever had someone say, no, there isn't an area of my life that I want to improve. People, the room for improvement is the biggest room, and it will always be the biggest room. It doesn't matter if you're making $100,000 a year or $100 million a year. There's always room for improvement. You always want to do better. That's how we're built. We're built to want more. And it really, I just think it's so important to just continue to grow and to learn and to apply what we're learning.
Yeah.
And
I learned this a lot in the previous community that we were part of, direct, honest, and loving. That's a servant's heart. Yeah. I want to dive into that because I think it's missing nowadays with COVID and people pitching all the time. And we've talked about that. What do you mean when you say direct, honest, and loving? Tough to say.
So I think I used to fall into this category where I would be maybe a little bit too in the loving part, where I was a little bit of a pushover or a people pleaser. And when we fall too much into that category without having some of that directness and honesty, and that's also towards ourselves, like really being grounded in who you are now and what you're achieving and being honest and removing some of the delusion, but also still knowing where you want to go. So being that with yourself, but then also with others. We need to be direct and honest, because if we're not honest, then we're living in a delusional state. Like a master knows where they are and they know where they want to go, but they're grounded in where they are too. It's like, but being able to look at that and have new perceptions of, okay, these are all the lessons that I've learned that have led me here. So I don't look at anything as a mistake. I look at everything as lessons.
Yeah.
So direct, honest, and loving is really just being able to do that, to communicate in a way where you're serving yourself, but you're serving other people. Because for me to lie to one of my clients, to not be honest with them with what their beliefs are, what they're attracting into their life, well, that's not serving them. So you have to be honest, but honesty can sometimes hurt and directness can sometimes hurt. So you do it from a loving service way where, like, I'm constantly hearing from my clients how they love my genuinity and my authenticity, because that's really, I really do truly care. And you can be honest, like push them, because that's what I'm here. I'm here to push people, but in a way where they really feel that it's like they know I'm pushing them for all of the right reasons.
Yeah, you did that with me. I liked you right from the beginning. because the direct part was hard. It was been hard for me. It's much better now, but that's, you know, and those three words, somebody has, like, one of those three words is a tough one for them, right? That they have to work on
Yeah.
mindset. You know, maybe it's the honesty. It's like, oh, I can fib a little. It's not okay to do that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs on this show. So I want to ask this question. What inspired you to start the journey as an entrepreneur?
Oh, I love this question. So I was very lost when I was pregnant with my son. So my son is now 4.5. And that's a whole other podcast episode talking about what I've gone on the journey with
We'll do that. Yeah.
with my son. Yeah. And I was working in a corporate environment in marketing. I had kind of spent my entire like adult life up to that point from one thing to another. I bartended for 10 years. I got tired of working till 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I went back to school for public relations, ended up in marketing, worked in a cubicle, and I was like, this can't be it. There has to be more. I dreaded Mondays, you know, the whole thing, right? And I was like, so my life is now, I'm going to be here till I retire and die in these walls and have someone else raise my kid. And all of these things were going through my mind. I was actually part of like a network marketing business back then. And what that had given me was the gift of personal development. I was not into personal development whatsoever. So I started kind of reading books and attending seminars and things. And I started getting some pretty cool ideas. But it wasn't until I actually hired a mindset coach, because I was like, I need to do something different. I'm not satisfied with my life. You know, I was not making very good income, financially struggling, anxiety, you know, mental health, all of those things. And I'm like, that's not what I want to bring in when I have my child. So I hired a mindset coach, which for me at the time was a massive leap of faith, a massive leap of faith. And what had happened after that moment was I discovered the power that I held within myself, within my mind. And I didn't really realize how much I had changed until I was at home with a newborn baby during COVID and thriving. And that was not how I used to be. And I really realized how I hold control. I hold control based on the way I think, based on the way I perceive myself and the world around me. And I could choose how I could perceive what was going on during COVID, which a lot of people didn't think they had that choice during that time, which I'm sure you can remember.
Oh, yeah.
And it was then that I realized that I really wanted to further my knowledge in the area to help other moms at the time. That was really my vision. And I ended up actually attracting a role on my first coach's sales team. And I was leading a sales team of 8 people, was able to not go back to my corporate job, but I did not have any skills. Like I was just there. And then what ended up happening was I attracted the community that actually Steve and I met through, as a coach, which gave me the skills to build a business. And I ended up building a 6-figure business within another company, while having 2 young kids at home, while having a son going through a critical illness as well. And then in January of this year, I took a step back and I worked on my own vision, because I've grown a ton in the last year. And I looked at my vision and I looked at what I wanted and the impact that I wanted to have. And I realized that, that I needed to make a decision to go out on my own and to start my own business and my own programs and have my own impact. And so I've been, like, I would say, an entrepreneur for the past 3 years, working as self-employed through other companies as a contract sales person would be essentially what I been. And then in January, I took the leap to just go all in and created Kayleigh Kennedy Consulting. And it's been a ride already, Steve. It's been amazing.
And I've been part of it, and it has been amazing. And you're a powerful businesswoman, and you're going to be a powerful entrepreneur. One lesson that I heard from you was you started something without the skills. People all the time I hear, and you probably hear it too, I don't have the skills to be a CPA, but I'm passionate about money, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that, because that's a powerful lesson. You jumped in without skills, but you made it work.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I was actually just at lunch with someone and we were talking about this. And I was saying, you know, because he has a vision of doing something that's outside of what he does right now. And I said, well, why don't you just try? Like, why don't you just start small, coach someone, mentor someone, serve someone, and see how it goes. It's like, why did I never think of that? Because we have the idea that it has to be perfect before it launches. It's programming. It's that idea. I remember a couple weeks ago telling my dad that I'm taking this group through my mindset program that I'm still creating. It's not done yet. And he's like, you're taking people through it before it's done? Yeah, because that's how I'm learning and I'm improving it. So it's like, we got to get rid of that perfectionism that everything has to be done at the same time, because the way that you're actually going to perfect it is by doing it and failing and learning.
Amen.
And I would say over the past 3 years, I've failed more times than won, but I'm winning because of those failures.
And all successful people have failed.
Yeah.
I'm going to highlight something else. You're just amazing. I haven't talked to you this, because I tell people, my mentor and partner, business partner, Josh, we talk to coaches all the time. They're like, well, I got to build it. No, sell your program, take the money in, do exactly what Kayleigh just talked about. So if you're out there as a coach and want to start something, just do it. It will work itself out, right? People aren't flocking and leaving your program, right?
No, I actually have, the first thing I launched was a monthly mastermind, which I facilitate. So I didn't have to have a whole lot of things created. I have my knowledge. That's really all that I need. Knowledge in a Zoom room. Like, that's really all I need. And I launched it as a subscription. And I have people who've already, they've already committed to being in that group for 6 months. I've had no one leave yet. And I have people, they're really giving me amazing feedback. Like, I don't know that I need to change anything yet, Steve. Like, that's how good the feedback is. So not a bad problem to have, right?
Well, what you're doing is bringing value to them. And anybody in this world you bring value to, whatever that looks like, they're going to be, most people, I can't say everyone, most people are going to be very upfront and very, very honest with you, but also back you, support you, be in your tribe. And that's powerful. What are your goals and impact you want to create?
On a grand scale, I want to change global consciousness. I want people to be aware that they don't have to allow their circumstances or to dictate what they achieve in their life or the goals that they set. And I want to help people really, truly understand their own power. Because that's what this work has given me. It's given me the ability to understand my own power and really build a beautiful vision of what my life can look like, what it is looking like. And now I'm helping other people do the same. Like, when I started in network marketing, so this was even before I got into coaching, as I mentioned, one of the things that kind of drove me there is I'd realized that I was settling. I was settling for what I thought that I should be doing, right? I was shooting all over myself. And and that purpose hasn't really changed. Even in network marketing, it's like, I just wanted to see people stop settling for less than they're worth. And that's really, to the core of it, that's really what I want. I want to help people stop settling and to see themselves as the beautiful, amazing, powerful, unique, special people that they are. Like, every single one of us, we all have so many beautiful gifts, and most people are suppressing those gifts because of fear of judgment or, what will they think, or just lack of courage and self-confidence. And I want to help people share their gifts with the world, because the world would be just such a better place if we all just started shining our lights.
It's a big light that you're going to do. I'm going to support you behind you, and you're going to do it. Settling is a big word that's not talked about in mindset and any business coaching. I know hundreds of business, and it's not a bad that they don't talk about it, but you said it. Talk about that, but tell us a story of somebody that was settling, because it's dangerous to settle. I mean, it's seriously dangerous, not mortal dangerous, but it could change your life, impact negatively. Talk about that and tell us a story.
Oh, this is a great question. So you've probably heard this before, like the 3%, right? The 3% of people who are kind of doing what we're doing, right? Going after their dreams, going after their goals. Well, let's look at the 97%. And the 97% are doing what they think they should do, which is settling. Because the predominant energy that is in the world today is the energy of settling, or I'm even going to take it one step further and call it mediocrity. because we all have power. Like, we all have the power to build multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar businesses if we want to. If we want to. Now, I know people who absolutely love what they do, and they work in an office. They love working 9 to 5. They love their income. They love more money, but they're very like, they're satisfied and they find pride and joy in the work that they do. That's great. But how many people go to those jobs and they can't find that satisfaction? I would say more people are going to the jobs, not finding satisfaction and feeling like they're stuck. And they're not stuck. They're stuck if they tell themselves they're stuck, right? So really, that's what settling is. So I look at, I'll use my personal, like in my personal life. So my husband is not into mindset. Well, he is now, but he wasn't when I first got into this work. And he's a first responder. So he has a very high stress job, very much undervalued, and I think very much underpaid for the work that he does, for sure. And, when he started kind of seeing me step outside of my shell and going after those things, like, he's starting to have goals and dreams that he never had before in his 40 plus years. And I think that's really cool, because most people don't see other people going after their goals in such a way where they have that influence, right? If it wasn't for me doing the work that I do, he would just settle with the job that he has, which he likes it. Does he love it? Some days, like, there's aspects of it he loves. But now, we're talking about the goals and dreams of what I'm going to create in my business and what that's going to give him, and him being able to find his passions and dreams and things. So, we don't have to settle. Like, that idea that we work until we retire, I think that idea is starting to fade. It was stronger before. It's getting weaker and weaker, which is great. I still, there's still a place. If that's what you want, go for it. Yeah. But my question is that what you want? And have you ever taken the time to really sit back and think about, well, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? Like, I took that time in January to rekindle my vision. And the next day, Kayleigh Kennedy Consulting was born. Like, the next day, I realized that my vision was bigger than where I was. And the next day I quit. I didn't wait on it, because it's the power of going after what you want. And now, because I did that, I'm now attracting people who want to do the same thing, because I shine my light. So it's like, we need more people to shine their light, to show the masses, because it is the masses, that they don't have to settle. There's a quote, I believe it's George Bernard Shaw, who says, or it's either Earl Nightingale or George Bernard Shaw, and it is the opposite of cowardice isn't courage, it's conformity. Most people conform. They do what they think they have to do, what they need to do.
Yeah. Shine their light is a servant's heart. I just wrote that. That's going to go on my wall. Thank you. See, I love being educated, motivated, inspired as a host, and I am. This has been so incredible. What's your mindset when you wake up Monday morning?
I love Mondays for multiple reasons. One is my kids get to go back to daycare. Get some quiet in my house. Good reason,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
I like, even tomorrow is Saturday, so we're recording this on a Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday, and my mom wants to take the kids, and I'm gonna do some work, because I love what I do. Sometimes it's hard for me to stop doing what I'm doing to be present with my family, but I also love that. I've had to build that into it, like finding that balance of just being able to be present in my work, present with my family. But I love every week is a new opportunity. Every day is a new opportunity. Like, I never bring in what happened last week into my next week. I don't even bring in what happened yesterday into my today. Really starting every day with a clean slate. And I look at a Monday as a new opportunity every single week. And my favorite Monday, Steve, is when it's a Monday and it's the first day of the next month, because I just think that is just this open door for just so many possibilities.
Wipe the slate clean, starting over, in a sense.
Yeah.
I love that. The reason I did that is, how many people tell you when you talk to them, go, and we hear this, I hear it, I'm sure you do, I dredge Mondays. Oh my God, it's Sunday night, I dredge Mondays.
Yep.
What do you say to them?
You don't have to. That used to be me. And so when I first started working with my first mindset coach, I was still working in corporate. It was about 3 months before I was to go off and have my son. So 3 months before my maternity leave. And one of the things that really shifted for me was I started to find the things to be grateful for in my current job, because I knew I didn't want to be there forever. It's like, well, what can I be grateful for now? So I had the ability where I was working before. This is prior to COVID too, to work from home a couple days a week. So I was grateful for that. So I reminded myself of that. I reminded myself I was grateful that in a couple months I was going to have a baby and and figure it out from there. And grateful for some of the people I worked with, definitely not all of them, but some of the people that I worked with. It was also a very, and I think a lot of corporate are, every man for themselves. Like I had people in my department throw me under the bus for things that I didn't do because they wanted the promotion.
Yeah.
Like that's not the world that I want to live in, because I truly believe that there is no competition. There's only winning. There's only collaboration, and everyone can win. And so it's finding those little wins in the job that you're doing so that you can start to shift your energy around it. And if you're not going to be there forever, that can be something you're grateful for too. I'm grateful that this gives me a paycheck to allow me to get to that next step and figure it out. Actually, I just brought it up, but one habit that I started adopting when I first started in mindset work as a student, essentially, I had to really build an image of myself as a winner. I never saw myself as a winner because I'd never really won before. And I didn't know how to acknowledge my accomplishments. Like so many people, I find a lot of women really diminish their accomplishments. One of the habits I started adopting, which I invite all of the listeners to do, is every night before I went to bed, I would write down at least three things that I acknowledge myself for that day. So I call them 3 wins. And no win is big or small. It's only our thinking that makes it so. So some days that win was I got out for a walk, I made my bed, I ate healthy today. I went to bed and some wins, it's like I closed my biggest deal, or I decided to start my own business, or
Yeah, that's a win too. Yeah.
the day that we found out my son's cancer was gone, that the energy, but it's the energy behind these wins where it's like there's the win of, for some days, just getting up and making the bed is a win. But when you start acknowledging yourself for those wins and celebrating those wins, just like the wins that I just shared with you, your energy changes and your own self-perception changes. And then you start to acknowledge yourself for more, and you're starting to build your confidence and your courage, and you're starting to build a winning image. So no matter where you are in your life, you can find if you woke up this morning and you inhaled some air into your lungs, there's something to be grateful for. You can find something to be grateful for, and you can find something to acknowledge yourself for every day. When you build that habit into yourself, you'll start to perceive yourself in a different way. And then the Mondays won't look so bad.
I love that you said winning attitude. People want to work with people winners. They're going to gravitate towards you. They're not going to be, you're going to be a magnet for them. I love this. We've come to the end. I can't believe how fast this went. I'm not surprised, to be completely honest with you. So you talked about a mastermind and you're working on this program. How can people reach out to you, find out more about this? Because I suggest they should.
Absolutely. So I have a mastermind that I run. It's a weekly mastermind call. I work on it through like a month-to-month subscription. So if there's just a certain issue that you're working on, you can come in for a month and work through that together. And it's a space where growth-minded entrepreneurs come together to achieve goals. So it is really somewhere like, it's like your business family where you can come and just help utilize other people's resources. And that's a really great group. It's not always about business either. I think actually most of the time it's about mindset. That's sometimes what it really does come down to. Yeah. So I have that's an ongoing mastermind. And then I have created my own mindset program. And what the mindset program is, it's called the Limitless Belief Mindset Program, because what I really want to help people do is tap into that limitless side of themselves before we started adopting all of these fears and doubts and worries and started perceiving ourselves for less than. So I've created a program which is like a step-by-step kind of guide on how to become aware of what some of these beliefs are so you can start to shift them. And I give people tools, like the practical tools to actually put it into place and build a new self-perception. So that's a 6-month program that right now I am building out. I have a group going through it right now, a second group starting in May, and I foresee it being, kind of on the market for people to join by mid to end summer.
Great. So stay connected with her, join the mastermind with a subscription, and then she'll tell you more about that. Thank you, Kayleigh. This has been absolutely incredible. You've educated me, and I've learned a lot from you before, and I've learned a lot more. And audience, listen to this over and over and use the reverse and forward buttons, because that's the power of a podcast. She listens to Bob Proctor, which I've listened to on YouTube, and there's points where you go, oh man, I resonate with that. I know Kayleigh's going to do that with you guys. Take that point and listen to it over and over and over. Me and Kayleigh would love for you to watch and listen to the whole show. But if 5 or 6 or 7 minutes of it change your life or make a difference in your life, we're going to be super happy. Don't forget about my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And doing business with a servant's heart. Let's get that message out. I have hats, t-shirts, hoodies. Wear it on your chest and your head, and let's spread the word of really being a servant's heart. And me and Kayleigh, thank you so much for listening or watching this incredible episode, and we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.